think spring has finally arrived here in the north of the UK, because this week the skies have been blue, the sun has been shining, the weather has felt warm, and the birds are singing, and it's just been such a lovely environment to stitch in, being in the studio, filled with light, listening to the birds. It really does make me feel happy and much more creative. However, the studio is not in a good shape at the moment. It feels chaotic, disorganised and quite untidy at the moment, and I think there are some reasons for that. So I work quite a short day, and so I always feel like I haven't really got time to put things away properly. I also work on multiple projects, making multiple videos at once, and so I end up leaving things out, projects that are half made, part way through, something else to film. I'm doing lots of little things and it just ends up creating mess. I have piles of things left on my table, piles on chairs, piles in baskets, piles everywhere, and I really need to get on top of it and sort it out. I don't know about you, but when the weather warms up, when it's much lighter, this always makes me feel like having a sort out, a tidy up and a spring clean. I guess it does that for many people, which is why spring cleaning is the thing. I've been doing it in my own house as well recently, having a sort out, a clear out, just getting on top of things. I'm sure many of you can relate to this, because when you're a crafter you do end up with a lot of things. People who aren't crafters can't believe the amount of stuff that crafters have. And sometimes I feel a bit embarrassed about that, but then we couldn't create, could we, if we didn't have materials to use? So what I'm doing now is I've emptied out a basket that just had multiple projects in, and I'm putting all of the vintage linens in here. I think this is a good place to keep them. This basket did belong to my mum. She used it for home ec, and she let me borrow it, and I just really find it useful to store fabrics in baskets. So because I want to work with these vintage linens soon, I think it's good to have them there so I can see them, and it can keep reminding me to pick up this project, and it's a great place to store them. So in these two plastic crates I've got my Liberty collection, my personal Liberty collection. In the one that I'm sorting through now, this used to just have fat quarters in, and I used to just keep the pieces in there that hadn't been cut into, but that's not the case anymore. I've cut into quite a lot of them, and I put them back in there if they're still relatively big pieces. I try to keep them folded and neat. I used to have them in some sort of colour order, but now there really is too many and they are having to squash in there a little bit. And that print, that is my absolute favourite Liberty print. I only have a small piece left of that now. It's called Chamomile. I do love that one. So this is the basket that I keep the majority of my Liberty collection in. Some are Japanese Liberty, like that one. Others are just ordinary Liberty, but there are some really special bespoke pieces in there that you can't get, different colourways like this one of Betsy, really unusual ones, and it is a collection that I've built up over time. When people come to workshops in my studio, I often let them look through and choose fabrics from here, because this is quite a large collection and I know I won't use it all in my lifetime, so I'm happy to share it with people when they come to visit for a workshop. So other fabrics that I've got lying around, I was going to create a Cath Kidston quilt. I'm still going to do that, so I have those lying around. I have bits of projects, half made, things that I've partly designed, and I'm in the middle of the prototypes. They're lying around. This box has my small scraps in, so I'm just sorting out between my baskets now. This basket has scraps in, bigger scraps. I think I've got 3 baskets with scraps in. Yeah, there is a lot of fabric to sort out here. Today's video has very kindly been sponsored by Serious Readers. Serious Readers make a fantastic range of serious lights. I have a high definition tabletop model here, and I can't sew without this light. Today is a sunny day, but it's so sunny in my room I've had to close the blinds, which means that the room becomes dark and the overhead lights just aren't good enough. So sewing with my high definition light is a must, something I use all year round, and it uses something called daylight wavelength technology, and as you can see, what that does is replicate the daylight spectrum as closely as technically possible. So the light that it gives off feels like natural light. It's really relaxing on the eyes, it makes it really easy to colour match your thread and fabrics, and it's just a fantastic light to sew with. If you'd like to find out more about the Serious Lights range, there's a link in the description box below, and if you use the code EMMA, that will give you £150 off a high definition light and also free UK delivery. Thank you so much to Serious Readers for sponsoring today's video. So it feels really nice to get those sorted out, but I still have a lot of other bits and bobs to sort out. I emptied out some of my Hexagon storage baskets. Now if you've been to my studio and had a look inside them, you might have thought they were just on the shelf for decoration, but they actually had half-made projects in them, so I finally emptied them out because I did use those baskets for many years. I mean, that's what they're designed for, but really in my studio now they should just be for display purposes. So I've emptied out all of the bits and bobs, and in this box it has lots of small boxes in it, and this is where I organise my personal hexiform stash. So there are a few boxes missing actually, and I think I might have left those at home. So I'm trying to sort out the hexiform pieces that were left in the baskets on the shelf from projects half made, and it turns out that actually I didn't have the right size boxes with me, but I just put things into a box for the time being, and I'll sort it out again another time. But it is nice if you can organise your shapes by size. That's what I do here. So I put all 1 inch hexagons together, all half inch hexagons together, etc. And if you can get a box like this, it's really handy for that, whether you use papers or hexiform, whatever you choose. I do recommend this type of storage system. I mean, it's not going to cover every single shape and size if you do have lots and lots. I think there are 10 or 12 boxes in this set, so that's only really 10 or 12 combinations, but it's a great place to start, and it doesn't take up a lot of space either. So this little container has bits and bobs for making needlebook kits, so everything can stay in there. It's pretty well organised. I keep all of my things for making kits underneath my cutting table. Pretty much everything is down there. And now it's back to organising my projects. So I'm not sure why all of this liberty is in this case, but this little suitcase is usually the place where I store my Happy Memories quilt and all of the blocks that are in the middle of, and fabrics and things like that. So I'm getting everything out of it, and I'm going to put that back put all of the happy memories items back in this case. I would absolutely love to be able to tell you that I am a naturally tidy person, but I just don't think I am. I really have to work hard at trying to be organised, and things can soon slip into chaos. I really try to have a container for each project, or a drawer that you're going to see later on. I'm going to organise some drawers, but I do have to keep working on it. As you can see, I'd shoved stuff in this for some reason that wasn't even to do with the project. And now I've got some threads to sort out. They are quite well organised in my container that you might have seen in a previous video, my wooden box. But yeah, I really wish I was a naturally tidy person. It just doesn't seem to come natural to me, and I do think it is because of having such a lot of different things for all sorts of projects. And again, scrap fabric. I don't throw away scraps, I keep them all, so they do have to be managed and looked after. So these are my pink drawers. I have a pink filing cabinet of A4 size drawers over there, and when I had this in my home I used it as project drawers, but here I use the first 1 or 2 drawers for tools and things like scissors and needle threaders. They've got quite untidy over time, so they just need a big sort out. I think I want the top 2 drawers to have tools and notions in. I would like a drawer for all of my thread as well. So I just want to organise it, tidy it up a bit. There may be a few things in here that need to go home, that I've brought to the studio and I need at home again. So I'm just having a good sort out with that. I'm going to have a drawer with my rotary cutters in. I have multiple rotary cutters, and that is because if someone comes to the studio for a class, I've got some spares for people. I've got my rulers here as well. I do use rulers all of the time of different sizes. I wish I had a set at home as well, so I do have to cart them back and forth, but that's okay. But things like spare glue refills, my seam roller, and also my threads all need sorting out. So in this drawer I've got my main thread collection for the threads that I use on a daily basis. So I've got a collection of Invisifil, which is the thread that I use for English paper piecing. So I've got that in there. I have it in a variety of colours, and I really love Invisifil. It's a really fine polyester thread and it just gives great results. So I do reach for that a lot, so I have lots of different colours of that. I also have a collection of 12 weight threads. They are fruity, they're variegated, and I have some solid 12 weight threads as well, a few spools of Afina. Found this little box which I like to use for photographs, as nice little props, pretty thimbles and things, but it has a half-made hexagon flower in there, so that needs to be removed. But it's just nice organising the drawers and getting them all neat and tidy. So in this one I'm putting all of the Cath Kids and fabrics in here. That way I know that they're ready for the project when I'm ready to carry on with it. I've made a few hexagon flowers from them, but that's about it. So I find these drawers to be great project drawers, especially for someone like me who has so many different projects on the go at once. It's nice to put everything for a project into the drawer and close it, and then you know it's there when you need to go back to it. My projects are small, so they do tend to fit in these shallow drawers. Obviously if you were making a big quilt and you had all of the fabrics for your quilt, this system isn't going to work, but for small things that I tend to use and that I tend to make, it really does work well, this system. It just needed to be organised. So in this one I'm putting a design that I designed a couple of years ago, and I've only half made and half planned it out. It's actually a bit bulky, so I ended up putting this into 2 drawers, but it's going to remind me that I absolutely need to get this design finished, get the pattern done and release it, because it's a really nice design. It's for a drawstring bag. It's really nice to make completely by hand. Now in this drawer I have some vintage linens and also a few other paper pieces and bits and bobs, miscellaneous things. But have you ever seen these pincushion ladies? I got them from an antique shop. I'm not sure if I've ever shown them before, but I want to rework their skirts and make them again. So that is a project idea that I have. So I'm putting all of my vintage embroidery transfers into a couple of drawers as well. I'm not packing them in because I want them to be kept nice and flat. I don't want them to get damaged. So I'm spreading them across 2 drawers, and I put the vintage pincushion ladies in with them as well to remind me to work on that as well, because I think that would be a fun project, and it'd be nice to have it next to my 95-year-old sewing machine to have a nice antique pincushion lady. Already that just feels so much better, to have everything in the right place and to know what's in each drawer. So this is my tools drawer that's going right in the top. Scissors, hoops, needle threaders, that sort of thing. Next I'm putting my threads in, so I know exactly where they are when I need them. This drawer has all of the embroidery thread for this year's block of the month, and so I know where all the colours are, and every time I'm working on it I can just get them out. This drawer just has all sorts in Velcro, glue, some Inktense blocks that I want to try on fabric, just bits and bobs really. It feels so nice to have those drawers organised, and the very last 2 drawers are actually empty, so I can even put new projects in there, which I'm sure it won't take me long to fill those. So here is what the studio is looking like after all of that sorting out. It feels so much better. I actually didn't get rid of anything. I took one small bag of things home to put in my sewing room at home. I didn't have anything to throw out at all, but just reorganising things just made everywhere feel so much better. So that shelf over there has packing materials, has baskets and boxes of hexagons for classes. And then over here there are the fabric baskets that I showed you before, and all of the drawers that are organised. Then I've got my sewing machine bits and bobs over there. I'm using them quite often, so I just leave those out. I've got a few things on the shelf there. My beautiful antique sewing machine there. There's some thimbles on the shelf in a pot. They're from home, but I'm going to make a video, I think, about thimbles, so that's why I brought them here. These 2 baskets I didn't really show you, but they've got bigger pieces of fabric in and some other projects that are just part made, big things that wouldn't fit in the drawers. Then over here I've got a board with a project that I keep meaning to work on, and then you can see the sun streaming in. It's late afternoon now, and yeah, the whole room just feels so nice. Definitely need to move that footstool back over there next to my chair, which has got my quilts on. They won't stay on there because I don't want the sun to bleach them, even though that's not the side of the room that the sun comes through that window. It comes through on the other side, but still I don't want them to become bleached, so I'm conscious of that, don't worry. But these baskets are now empty. They just have samples in. There aren't any half-made things in these baskets anymore, so I don't have to feel embarrassed when people look inside them, because it's nice to have them as samples of my work on display. And this is what the room's looking like. Pretty tidy and organised, and it just feels so much better. There's a mini quilt missing off the wall there that fell down. I need to stick that back up, and that's my bag of things to take home. But other than that, all feels really organised and much better, ready to start creating this spring. I feel rejuvenated and just so much better when the sun's out. So I hope you liked this little organisation video. thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you really soon with something else. Take care, bye bye.